Maybe you should eat upstairs, my daughter-in-law said calmly when I tried to sit at the Christmas table I had been cooking for since 4:30 in the morning. We didn't really plan this as your thing, Charlie. I stood there in my own dining room, still wearing my apron, looking at the woman who had just told me I wasn't welcome at my own Christmas dinner. In the house I've owned since 1995, at the table I've sat at every Christmas for the past 30 years. My name is Charlie Morrison, I'm 61 years old, and this is the story of how I learned that sometimes the people you love the most will test just how much you're willing to give up for them. Let me back up a bit because this didn't start at Christmas. It started 14 months earlier when my son Steve called me from his apartment parking lot. He's 36, works HVAC repair on contract jobs, and he's got my late wife Dorothy's stubborn streak when it comes to asking for help. Good thing too, because life hasn't been easy for him lately. Dad, he said, and I could hear the strain in his voice. The kind of tired that comes from carrying too much weight for too long. I hate to ask this, but things have gotten pretty tight. My contract ended last week, and Mandy's consulting business is still trying to find its footing. Could we maybe stay with you for a while, just until we get back on our feet? I said yes before he finished talking. Of course I did. He's my son. Dorothy would have said the same thing without hesitation. Steve and his wife Amanda, she goes by Mandy, moved in that weekend with a U-Haul, 2 cats, and more boxes than I expected for what was supposed to be a temporary stay. I'd spent the week cleaning out the guest bedroom, the one with the big window facing the backyard where Dorothy used to sit and watch the cardinals at her bird feeder. I put fresh sheets on the bed, cleared space in the closet, even bought some of those fancy coffee pods Mandy likes from the expensive coffee shop downtown. The first few weeks went fine, better than fine actually. Steve would get up early and we'd have coffee together in the kitchen while Mandy slept in. Those quiet morning talks reminded me of when he was a teenager and we'd watch SportsCenter before school, arguing about whether the Browns would ever make it to a Super Bowl. Those conversations were something I'd missed more than I realized. Mandy would come down around 9 or 10, set up her laptop at the dining room table, and work on her marketing consulting. She was building a client base from scratch, mostly small retail businesses that needed help with their online presence. She was friendly enough those first weeks, said she appreciated us helping them out. She'd ask about my day, compliment Dorothy's china cabinet, comment on how cozy the house felt. I thought we'd found a good rhythm. Then little things started changing. Small things that individually seemed like nothing worth mentioning. First, I came downstairs one morning in early May to find the throw pillows on my couch rearranged. Dorothy had positioned those pillows just so minus. 2 of them were from our 25th anniversary trip to Gatlinburg, where we'd stayed in a cabin and spent 3 days hiking and talking about what we wanted to do when I retired from teaching. The other 2 she'd sewn herself from fabric she'd bought at a little shop in downtown Youngstown that closed years ago. I'd kept them exactly where she left them for 6 years. Now they were stacked different. 2 moved to the armchair in the corner. I moved them back to Dorothy's arrangement. Didn't say anything about it. Figured maybe Mandy was just trying to get comfortable. Maybe she'd sat there watching TV and moved them without thinking. 2 weeks later, the picture in the hallway was gone. Dorothy's friend Kate had painted it for me the year after Dorothy died. A little winter scene with a red barn and snow-covered fields that reminded me of the farm where Dorothy grew up in Pennsylvania. Nothing fancy, but it meant something because Kate knew how much Dorothy had missed that place. In its place was some abstract print I'd never seen before. All gray and dusty pink geometric shapes. Definitely not my taste. It looked like something from one of those expensive home stores where everything costs 3 times what it should. I found Dorothy's painting face down in the coat closet, leaning against the wall like it was waiting to be thrown out. I knocked on their bedroom door. Steve answered, looking tired in a way that had become familiar over the past few weeks. The kind of exhausted that comes from trying to keep everyone happy and knowing you're failing. The painting in the hallway, I said, keeping my voice even. Kate painted that for me after your mother died. It's important to me. I want it back up. He looked uncomfortable, shifting from one foot to the other. Mandy thought it made the hall feel dark. She said the space needed more light, more energy. She got that print at some pop-up shop downtown. She's just trying to make the space feel more like home, you know? Home, as if it wasn't already my home, as if it hadn't been my home for 28 years. Steve, I said, still keeping my voice level but making sure he heard me clearly, this is my house. That painting has meaning to me. Put it back where it belongs. He nodded quickly, said he would take care of it right away. The print stayed up for 4 more days before Kate's winter scene quietly reappeared in its rightful spot. By June, Mandy had reorganized my kitchen. I came down to make my morning coffee and couldn't find Dorothy's favorite mug, the big ceramic one with the blue flowers that she'd bought at a pottery shop during our trip to Asheville back in 1998. We'd spent a long weekend there for our anniversary, staying in a bed and breakfast where the owner served coffee in handmade mugs every morning. Dorothy loved that mug so much the shop owner let her buy one to take home. I found it shoved to the back of a high cabinet I could barely reach, hidden behind a set of matching white mugs Mandy had bought from some catalog. Everything else had been rearranged too. My coffee filters moved to a different cabinet, the sugar bowl relocated to the counter next to the stove instead of by the coffee maker where I'd kept it for years. It's more functional this way, Mandy told me when I asked about it that evening. She was chopping vegetables for dinner, moving around my kitchen like she'd always lived there. The matching set looks cleaner, more organized. That old mug was taking up prime real estate in the front of the cabinet. That old mug, like it was a piece of junk instead of something that connected me to one of the happiest weekends Dorothy and I had shared in our 32 years of marriage. Dorothy's mug stays in front, I said. That's where it belongs. She smiled that smile people give you when they think you're being unreasonable but don't want to start an argument. Of course, Charlie. Whatever you prefer. But preferences, I was learning, didn't carry much weight in conversations with Mandy. The mug stayed buried behind her catalog purchases for another week before I moved it back myself. The real escalation started in July when Mandy decided she needed a dedicated workspace. She approached me one evening while I was watching the news, perching on the edge of Dorothy's old recliner, like she was about to ask for a favor. Charlie, I've been thinking, she said. My business is really taking off, and working at the dining room table isn't cutting it anymore. I need a proper office setup. Would it be possible for me to use your workshop in the basement? Just temporarily until we get our own place. Now let me tell you about that workshop. I'd built most of it myself after Dorothy died, when the evenings felt too long and the house too quiet. It started as a way to keep my hands busy, building birdhouses, fixing the neighbor's broken chair, refinishing an old dresser Dorothy had bought at a garage sale, but never had time to restore. Over the years, it became my sanctuary. I had a good workbench down there that I'd made from oak boards, proper lighting that didn't strain my eyes, pegboard walls where all my tools hung in their designated spots. It was where I went when I needed to think, where I felt closest to Dorothy because she used to come down and watch me work, bringing me coffee and telling me about her day. I looked at Mandy sitting in Dorothy's chair, asking to take over the one space in my house that was purely mine. I appreciate that your business is growing, I said carefully, but that workshop is important to me. It's not available as an office space. First time I'd said no directly to her. You'd have thought I'd slapped her based on the look that crossed her face before she caught herself. I completely understand, she said, recovering quickly. I wouldn't want to intrude on your personal space. No problem at all. 3 days later, I went down to the workshop to replace a broken hinge on the kitchen cabinet and found her computer set up on my workbench. 2 monitors, a printer, cables running everywhere. My hand tools had been moved from their pegboard spots to a cardboard box on the floor. The birdhouse I'd been working on for my neighbor Tony was pushed into a corner, covered with her business papers. I stood there for a long moment, looking at my workshop transformed into her office. The audacity of it took my breath away. We'd had a conversation. I'd said no. She'd said she understood. And here she was anyway, acting like our conversation had never happened. I went upstairs and found Steve in the living room, scrolling through job listings on his laptop. Your wife has taken over my workshop, I said without preamble. He looked up, and I could see the resignation in his eyes. This wasn't the first time he'd been put in this position. She's under a lot of pressure with the business, he said, not quite meeting my gaze. 2 new clients signed on last week, and she's trying to keep up with the workload. It's just temporary, until we figure out a better arrangement. Steve, I said, sitting down across from him, we talked about this. I told her the workshop wasn't available. She said she understood. I know. I'll talk to her about it. When tonight? I'll talk to her tonight. He did talk to her. She apologized the next morning, said she'd gotten carried away with work and hadn't thought it through. Said she'd move everything out by the weekend. Her computer setup stayed on my workbench for 6 more weeks. Here's what I started to understand during those weeks. This wasn't about convenience or business needs or temporary arrangements. This was about testing boundaries. Each small violation was a test to see how much I'd tolerate, how far she could push before I pushed back. And every time I failed to push back immediately and firmly, I was teaching her that my boundaries were negotiable. The pillows were a test. The painting was a test. Dorothy's mug was a test. The workshop was a bigger test, and I was failing every single one of them by being reasonable, by trying to keep the peace, by convincing myself that each individual violation wasn't worth a confrontation. My neighbor Tony stopped by one Saturday in August while I was mowing the front yard. Tony's been living next door for 15 years, and we've developed the kind of easy friendship that comes from shared property lines and mutual respect for quiet Saturday mornings. "How's it going with the kids living here?" he asked, shutting off my mower so we could talk properly. I hesitated. Tony had watched Steve and Mandy move in, had probably noticed that the temporary stay was stretching longer than anyone had planned. "It's an adjustment," I said finally. Tony nodded like he understood more than I was saying. My brother went through something similar when his daughter moved back with her boyfriend. Started out as a few months, turned into almost 2 years. Said it nearly drove him crazy. How'd it end up? He finally had to lay down the law. Gave them a firm date to move out and stuck to it. Said it was the hardest thing he'd ever had to do with family, but also the most necessary. After Tony went back inside, I stood in my front yard looking at my house. The house Dorothy and I had bought when Steve was barely walking. The house where we'd raised him. The house where Dorothy had taken her last breath. It was still my house, but it was starting to feel like I was the guest in it. By September, 2 things had become crystal clear. First, Steve and Mandy had no intention of leaving. The financial crisis that had brought them to my door had supposedly resolved itself. Steve had landed a steady contract with a commercial property management company. Good money with benefits. But there was no apartment hunting. No discussion of timelines, no mention of the temporary arrangement we'd all agreed to 6 months earlier. Second, Mandy had stopped asking permission for anything. She bought new kitchen towels without consulting me, threw out the ones Dorothy had embroidered with little strawberries during the summer before she got sick, replaced the soap dispensers in the main bathroom with a set she preferred, something sleek and modern that looked like it belonged in a hotel. She had a 20-minute conversation with Tony about whether we should trim back the maple tree between our properties, speaking as if she were the homeowner making decisions about landscaping. The breaking point came on a Tuesday morning in late September when I walked into my living room to find furniture movers rearranging everything. 2 guys in work clothes were sliding my couch across the room while Mandy directed them from the center of the chaos. A little more to the left, she was saying. "Perfect. Now the coffee table needs to go at an angle to open up the flow." I stood in my own doorway watching strangers move furniture I'd chosen with Dorothy, pieces we'd saved up for and bought one at a time over the years. Dorothy's favorite reading chair, a burgundy wingback where she'd sit every evening with her mystery novels, was being pushed into a corner to make room for some kind of modern entertainment center I'd never seen before. "What's happening here?" I asked. Mandy turned to me with that bright smile she used when she was about to explain why something I didn't want was actually good for me. "I hired these guys to help optimize the space," she said. "The furniture arrangement was really closing off the room. This opens everything up, makes it feel bigger and more welcoming. Don't you think it flows better?" I looked around my living room. Nothing was where it belonged. The couch Dorothy and I had picked out for our 20th anniversary was facing the wrong direction. The coffee table her father had made in his workshop before he died was pushed against the wall like an afterthought. Dorothy's chair was barely visible in the corner. "I didn't authorize this," I said. The furniture movers stopped what they were doing and looked between Mandy and me, suddenly aware they'd walked into a family situation. "It's fine," Mandy told them. "Just finish up." "No," I said louder. "It's not fine. Put everything back where it was." The silence in the room was thick enough to cut. One of the movers cleared his throat. "Look, we don't want to get involved in anything," he said. "Why don't you folks work this out and call us back when you know what you want?" After they left, Mandy and I stood in my destroyed living room. She had her arms crossed, no longer bothering with the helpful smile. "I was trying to do something nice for the house," she said. The old arrangement was dated. "This is more functional." "This is my house," I said. Each word came out slow and deliberate. "My furniture. My arrangement. You don't get to hire people to rearrange my home without asking me. I live here too," she shot back. "I should have some say in how the space works." There it was. The truth she'd been dancing around for months. She didn't see herself as a guest anymore. In her mind, she lived here. Equal footing, equal rights to make decisions about my home. Steve came home that evening to find me sitting in Dorothy's chair, which I'd moved back to its proper spot by the window. The rest of the furniture was still scattered around the room like a tornado had hit it. What happened here? He asked. I told him all of it. The movers, the furniture, the conversation with his wife about who had the right to make decisions in my house. Steve ran his hands through his hair, a gesture he'd inherited from me. She didn't mention anything about furniture movers. She hired them without telling you? She mentioned wanting to freshen up the room, but I thought she meant maybe new throw pillows or something. We sat in silence for a few minutes. Mandy was upstairs in their bedroom, probably telling her sister Jennifer on the phone how unreasonable I was being about home improvements. Dad, Steve said finally, I think we need to talk about some things. I'm listening. I know we've been here longer than we planned, and I know Mandy can be. He searched for the right word, assertive about how she thinks things should be. Assertive, that was one way to put it. The thing is, he continued, we're comfortable here. Maybe too comfortable. And I think staying here has let us avoid dealing with some issues in our marriage that we need to face. This was the closest Steve had come to admitting what I'd been seeing for months. My house had become a buffer between him and his wife, a way to avoid the hard conversations about what they actually wanted from their life together. What kind of issues? I asked. Steve was quiet for a long time, staring at the displaced coffee table. Money stuff, career stuff, whether we want kids, where we want to live long term. The kind of conversations that are easier to postpone when you're living in someone else's space and calling it temporary. And meanwhile, I'm watching my home get taken apart, piece by piece. I'm sorry about that. I really am. I should have been paying more attention to what was happening. That night, I sat at my kitchen table and did something I'd been putting off for months. I got out a legal pad and made a list, every boundary that had been crossed. Every change that had been made without my permission, every conversation where my wishes had been acknowledged and then ignored. The list was longer than I expected. 2 full pages of small violations that had added up to something much bigger, the systematic takeover of my home by someone who saw my kindness as weakness and my patience as permission. At the top of a fresh page, I wrote, Meeting with Steve and Mandy, November 1st. Below that, I started writing the speech that was going to change everything. November 1st arrived on a cold Thursday morning. I'd spent the previous evening reviewing my notes, making sure I had everything organized. Steve and Mandy sat across from me at my kitchen table, the same table where Dorothy and I had made family decisions for 30 years. I love you both. I began reading from the paper I'd prepared. I was glad to help when you needed it, but we need to establish some clear agreements moving forward. I outlined everything. The workshop was mine and would remain mine, no exceptions. Any changes to the house, any purchases that affected the appearance or function of any room required my explicit approval beforehand. Most importantly, I needed them to start actively looking for their own place with a firm move-out date by December 15th. Mandy listened with that controlled expression I'd learned to recognize when I finished. She smiled and said, Of course, Charlie. We appreciate everything you've done for us. Steve looked relieved, like a weight had been lifted. Thanks for being patient with us, Dad. We'll start looking this weekend. For 2 weeks, nothing changed. The computer stayed off my workbench, which felt like progress. But there was no apartment hunting, no discussion of move-out dates, no acknowledgement of the timeline we'd just agreed upon. Then Mandy announced she was planning a Christmas gathering. I thought it would be nice to have people over, she said on a Sunday morning in early December. My sister Jennifer, her husband Tim, maybe a couple of colleagues. Christmas Day, nothing too elaborate. That sounds fine, I said. I'll need to know the menu so I can plan the shopping. She gave me that tilted head look I'd come to dread. Actually, I was thinking I'd handle all the food this year. Take the pressure off you for the holiday. It's my house, Mandy. I'll be cooking Christmas dinner like I have every year since Dorothy died. Of course, she said smoothly. I just thought you might want a break. December 24th, I woke up to find my dining room transformed again. The good china Dorothy had inherited from her grandmother was still in the sideboard, but the table had been reset with different placemats, different centerpiece, different everything. My wooden reindeer, the ones Dorothy had bought our first Christmas together in 1987 were nowhere to be seen. I found them wrapped in newspaper in the basement, tucked behind the furnace like discarded junk. I brought them back upstairs, put them in their place of honor at the center of my table, and removed Mandy's modern arrangement to the sideboard. When she came downstairs at 9:30, she walked into the dining room, surveyed my changes, and walked back out without a word. Christmas morning, 4:30 a.m., same as every year since Dorothy passed. She'd taught me that starting the turkey early was the secret to everything else falling into place. I had the bird in the oven by 5:15, cranberry sauce simmering by 600, pie dough rolled and ready by 7:30. At 10:30, while I was basting the turkey, Mandy appeared in the kitchen doorway. She looked me over, the apron Dorothy had given me that red king of the kitchen, the oven mitts, the flour dusting my shirt sleeves. "We didn't really plan this as your thing, Charlie," she said in that calm voice that made my blood run cold. "I thought you'd probably want a quiet Christmas upstairs. Let us handle the hosting duties. 6 hours of cooking, my turkey, my recipes, my kitchen." And she was suggesting I go to my room like a child while she played hostess in my house with my food. I took off the apron, folded it carefully, and set it on the counter. But instead of heading upstairs, I walked into my dining room where her guests were already gathering. I pulled out my chair, the one at the head of the table, and sat down, Jennifer. "Good to see you again," I said to Mandy's sister. "Tim, how's the new house working out? I heard you finally got that kitchen renovation finished." The conversation flowed naturally from there. Jennifer updated me on her kids' college plans. Tim asked about my cranberry sauce recipe. One of Mandy's colleagues wanted to know about the history of the house. Mandy stood in the doorway for maybe a minute before quietly taking her seat at the table. Not at the head. Not in charge. Just another guest at my Christmas dinner. After everyone left and the dishes were done, I had the conversation with Steve that I should have had months earlier. I gave them until February 1st to find their own place. Firm deadline. No extensions. I offered to help with deposits, first month's rent, whatever they needed financially, but February 1st was non-negotiable. They moved out January 29th, found a nice townhouse about 25 minutes away with good schools in case they decide to have kids someday. When the moving truck pulled away, I stood on my front porch and watched them go. Then I reclaimed my house, put everything back where it belonged. Spent the afternoon in my workshop, organizing tools and finishing the birdhouse I'd started before Mandy commandeered my space. Steve calls twice a week now. Our conversations are longer, more honest. He and Mandy are in counseling, working through those issues they'd been avoiding. I hope it helps them build something real together. Mandy sent me a brief text in March, acknowledging that things had been difficult and apologizing for her role in it. I appreciated the gesture. "Here's what I want you to understand. Whatever your situation, whatever version of this story you might be living, your home is more than 4 walls and a roof. It's the physical manifestation of your life's work, your values, your memories. When you allow someone to systematically dismantle your authority in that space, you're not just losing control of your environment, you're losing pieces of yourself. The erosion always starts small. A moved pillow here, a replaced picture there, a temporary arrangement that becomes permanent. Each individual violation seems too minor to fight over, but those small surrenders add up to something much larger. The complete abdication of your right to live as the master of your own domain. You have the right to set boundaries in your own home. You have the right to say no, even to people you love. You have the right to protect the space where you eat, sleep, and find peace. That's not selfishness, that's basic human dignity. Don't wait until Christmas morning to take your stand. Do it the first time someone moves your furniture without asking. Do it clearly, kindly, but firmly. The people who truly respect you will hear you the first time. The ones who don't are teaching you something important about their character. Your castle, your rules. Remember that.